Some of you probably know that I'm the maintenance person for Mr. Dog Poop Industries. Today we're going to replace some lighting panels. So a few years ago, somebody thought it was a good idea to put LED flat panels in the ceiling for lighting. 3 years later, they're falling apart. This is literally falling apart. Some of the panels have already come off, they're burned out. These LED panels are supposed to last a lifetime. They tell you they'll last 10,000 hours, 10,000 years. Well, 3 years. If you look at the panels, you can see they're burned out. They're just dull in places, they're not as bright. Some of them have bright areas, dark areas. They don't do very well over time, and it hasn't been that long. And they're all, shit, I got stuff in my eyes. So I just touched that panel and I have glasses on and I still got stuff in my eye. So these things are just falling apart, plastic falling off, falling on the floor. This is a lab environment. We do DNA testing and these things are dropping plastic all over the place. You can see this panel is completely bowed out. Should be flat, it's not flat. It's just a matter of falling apart. So we just ordered on Amazon some LED flat panels. 1 foot by 4 feet. 2 of them will go into a 4 foot by 2 foot standard drop ceiling. The replacement panels that I just bought are a little bit thicker and apparently a little bit bigger. So hopefully they fit. One of the reasons look at that, look at the heat is already burning the power supply. So you can see that the plastic is heating. You can see the plastic is heating up and discoloring from the heat, which is not good. I mean, that seems like that could be a fire hazard. Supposed to be UL approved, but you know, just because it says it on it doesn't mean it actually was. We need a few tools here. We're just gonna cut these off. And we're gonna wire these cords directly into the power supply. There's a panel, wire nuts in there. So these are wired for 120 or 277. We're gonna be doing 120, so you have your standard ground, neutral, and your power lead. Comes with wire nuts. We need to pick a location for a clamp. Thread that through there. Oh, shoot. Going to split that wire. And then using wire strippers, strip off a little bit. All right, so we don't have a ground wire. And the reason we don't have a ground wire is because our panels didn't have a ground wire. So as I'm looking at it and thinking this needs to have a ground, it will work if we use 2 wires. But we don't have the safety of having it grounded, and we definitely want to do that. So I am going to dig up some new cables, and we're going to use a different cable that has a ground plug on it instead of this garbage that came with these other lights. So the other panels came with a standard cord. I went and found some 15 amp. These are only going to be 0.6 amps. So don't need a real heavy cord, but definitely having a ground wire. We're gonna just take one of these out, put a 3/8 inch clamp in here. This cord, we're gonna just take a razor blade, cut through the outside sheath. What you don't want to do is cut through the wires. And you should have green, white, and black, which will correspond to your green, white, and black here. I'm gonna go ahead and run it through here. before we wire it up. You want to strip the wires down so you can put the wire nuts on them. Looks like these are about 16 gauge. Not a heavy duty cord, but this is only using 0.6 amps. So we don't need something rated for the full 15 amps. Comes with wire nuts, but they look a little large, let's say. Green to green. Yeah, too big. So, what we need is we need these little wire nuts and not these big wire nuts. These would be for something that's already wired in and you're hooking it up to a 12 gauge wire or a 14 gauge wire. You don't, the 14 gauge wires, we already have plugs wired in, so we're gonna plug it in. We need a smaller wire nut. So I will go out to the workshop and find some more wire nuts. So we found the right size wire nuts and we'll go ahead and put that on. That's a nice tight fit. So go ahead and do the black and then the white. Perfect. That's gonna go in here. Bring this down. Put the screw back in. And then we're going to tighten up the clamp. Tight enough to keep that from moving, not too tight to split the wire. And that's it. Now we have to get it in the panel. Let's go ahead and plug it in before we put it in the ceiling, make sure that it works. Looks good. It has 3 settings for the power, and then it has 3 settings for the light. We're gonna take the brightest, closest to daylight. Let's see if we can put it in the ceiling. So it looks like the way this is wired, there's a plug here for this light. So we want to get this light out and put it in first. And that's not going to be, that's unique to our building and the way the electricians wired it up. And as you can see, it's just falling apart as we take it out. It's not bad enough that it's jammed in there, but then it's falling apart, so. New panel's a little bit bigger. It'll be a little bit more of a challenge to get it in without taking these things off the ceiling, but we'll give it a try. Alright, so I'm going to reach through here and find the cord. Plug it into the outlet. Oh, I have other panels on there. Now we're going to do the same thing with the rest of the lights. And 3 years from now, apparently we're going to be doing it again. So that's how you install LED flat panels. And after a hard day of work, you deserve a beer and go ahead and watch some Mr. Dog Poop videos.
Sir, I love your truck. What do you do for a living?
Stupid idiot, what? Yeah, this guy's great.